You're listening to the Health and Happiness Podcast with Travis Kemper and
Lauren Maxwell. Each episode, we share easy-to-implement strategies to improve your health, happiness, and overall quality of life. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Seneca. How's it going, Travis?
Well, it's getting better. I've been laying on the couch with a cold for the last 4 days. I'm sure I still sound pretty nasally. But I feel a lot better today.
Yay.
And I need to go buy a turkey for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving is somehow already this week in
Yes.
4
days.
4 days. What the heck? I don't know how that happened so fast. I'm glad you're feeling better, though. Just in time
Thank you.
to eat turkey.
Yes, and mashed potatoes and stuffing.
And apple pie?
I could go for an apple pie, but mashed potatoes and stuffing and turkey. That's all I really need. How's it going, Lauren?
It's good. It's been a busy few weeks, and I've been back and forth to Phoenix quite a bit. A lot of my friends, including Travis, have birthdays in October. And since mine is in December, I usually will do a joint celebration in November with, well, I haven't gone to see Travis in Colorado, but I have gone down to Phoenix. So one of the trips I went down for, we did salsa lessons for our joint birthday celebration. It was me and Jesse. So we got to learn the rumba, the foxtrot, and a little bit of salsa, and it was so much fun. And I found a hairdresser in Flagstaff now, so I don't have to go down to Phoenix for that anymore, which is really great. And I had my first appointment with her last week, and she's amazing, and she really values education, which I love. So I'm actually learning how to take care of my hair for the first time, and I don't know if that's exciting to anybody but me, but I'm really excited.
Well, I'm very excited that you don't have to drive 2 hours to get your hair done.
Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, very exciting.
That would not be a thing that I would do.
Yeah, I just have a fear of, trusting people, so.
I go to the back porch.
Yeah, you do your own hair. If I could do my own hair, I would, but
I can buy you clippers. I'll have them sent to your house.
I'm not going to do it that way. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe this person can teach me enough about how to do my hair that maybe I'll do my hair eventually by myself.
There you go.
Anyway. So what are we going to talk about today, Travis?
Some final thoughts. This is going to be our last episode as we have decided to move on to different things.
Wow, bittersweet.
So, Lauren, what were your favorite things about the podcast?
Easily my favorite part of making this podcast was just having time to hang out with Travis every week and catch up on each other's lives. I loved having time where we could come together and learn and be silly together, but also help people with our topics. It was so fun learning about new topics each week, and also hearing feedback from the people who listened. I got to have some really cool and great conversations with friends who had listened to the episodes that I don't think that I would have had without doing the episodes. And I think overall the podcast kind of allowed me to embrace my own vulnerability a little bit more and be more comfortable with admitting my own insecurities and weaknesses and then work on confronting them. What about you?
Hanging out with you. And again, getting feedback. I think you pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. Getting feedback from the episodes from listeners, mm-hmm. and also learning new things. Yeah.
A lot of really fun things came out of this podcast for sure. What was one of the hardest things about making the podcast?
Scheduling time to make this call, because I am not a scheduler. And also scheduling time to do the research and then make posts about the episodes and write in the show notes, which I'm sure nobody looks at, but they are there, I promise.
All the links and the research are in our show notes every single week. Yeah. And that's thanks to Travis, because that is not my job.
Yeah. That's thanks to me.
It's
not even that big of a deal. It's just one of those things that seems like a big deal.
Yeah.
When you do it.
Yeah.
It takes 10 minutes. It's not a big deal at all. But for whatever reason in my head, it takes 4 hours.
One of those things for sure. Yeah. One of the hardest things of making the podcast for me was waiting for Travis to get the research. I'm just kidding.
Oh, shots fired.
I'm just kidding. I think the hardest part, honestly, for me was getting over myself enough to do it. and trusting that I had things of value to say with my own voice. That was initially what scared me the most about taking on this project. Like when we were just talking about it and like coming up with, oh, we should make a podcast. And I like came in like responding to Travis. So I was like gung ho, like, heck yeah, let's do it. And then I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say? Like, are people actually going to care like about what I say? So yeah, just trying to muster up the confidence to actually do it was really hard. We talked about confidence in a lot of the episodes, and it was really interesting because each episode was really a challenge for my confidence. Like I had to psych myself up to be like, no, you have things of value every single time. I mean, it got better, but like in the beginning, it was really, really rough. But I think through the process of making this podcast over the last 2 years, I have gained some new confidence that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't done it. So hardest and maybe like one of the most rewarding things that I took out of this podcast.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you had personal benefits.
Yeah.
Lauren, what are some things you learned while making the podcast?
I feel like I learned something every week and learned more on topics that I already knew. I think I was most surprised by some of the powerful effects that we found from such simple things like being out in nature and sunlight and talking out loud, meditation, smiling, just like making yourself smile and like giving someone a hug and writing things down. All of these are such simple yet powerful tools, and it was cool to see the research really back that and show it to its powerful effect.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Some of the episodes just confirmed that my experiences were not just my experiences, but had scientific backing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my love of saunas, my disdain for the news, but also the nature episode demonstrated how little of the natural world we actually needed to improve our life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the sunlight episode was really cool too, because it showed basically the research that we have shows that the vitamin D from the sun has significant benefits over a pill, or that sunlight gives us some other benefit that we don't really understand. Either way, the sunshine is very, very beneficial.
Yeah. Some really cool takeaways for sure. What was your favorite episode?
The nature episode. I just remember being shocked that having a tree outside a hospital window can significantly decrease the length of hospitalization and that the patients need less painkillers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's insane.
I think that's one of the facts that like stuck with me long after we did the episode was like, that's something that I just like pull out when I'm talking to people. Like, oh, did you know?
Yeah, that's a crazy one. The fecal transplant episode was also shocking in a lot of ways.
I forgot about the poop episode.
The poop episode, yes. Just how much, like a fecal transplant into a healthy patient can like destroy their gut biome and their mental health.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and we did a couple of like interviews with people about like gut health interview that you did with Dr. Mayer. That was really interesting.
Yeah, he's a smart dude.
He's a smart dude. It was awesome that we got him on the show. My favorite episode, I don't think it surprises anybody, but it was the friendship episode, so episode 3. I loved getting to explore more about how friendships affect your happiness and your experience in the world and in life, and sharing my own thoughts about friendship. I think because I love loving people and I love loving them really hard. And so this was just a really fun episode for me. I also I think kind of ironically loved the mental health episodes we did, like perfectionism and people pleasing and fear of failure, because it really challenged me and opened my eyes to things that I was or am struggling with, and reminded me, 1, that I'm not alone with these struggles, but 2, gave me concrete things to work on. So they were very vulnerable. I felt like I was just like cutting myself open and bleeding on the podcast a handful of times, but it was oddly therapeutic at the same time.
I think mental health in general, you feel like you're, in my experiences with myself and my patients, you feel like you're in this bubble and you're the only person that's going through this stuff. And then like you look at the research and it's like,
yeah,
everybody goes through this stuff?
Yeah.
Or a lot of people?
Yeah, it's really weird because I feel like some of the ideas I came up with, some of them Travis came up with, but what I came up with, I literally would like say like, oh, we could maybe do an episode on this, but I don't know if there's going to be information on it, because like in my head I'm struggling with this and I don't think anybody else is. And then lo and behold, like we get a whole episode on it. So that was great for me to learn.
Yeah, you're not crazy. You're
Not
not the
alone.
only one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, in conclusion, I think we did a pretty good job covering the basics of health. Um, I think we also covered some less than basic stuff like fecal
Yeah.
transplants and saunas and
Yeah.
stuff like that we were just interested in. And I'm confident that anyone that listens to the episodes can improve their health. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of us.
Yeah. And I think at the end of the day, for listeners, you need to remember that health is a journey. There's going to be ups and downs. And also remember that each action compounds the benefits you are getting. That's all I got.
That's all we got.
Great job, Lauren.
And that's a wrap. Great
That's
job,
it.
Travis. This was fun.
This was fun. Thanks everybody for listening and your support throughout. And well, we won't see you next time because there's not going to be another episode. But we will keep the episodes up for, I don't know, some amount of months, and then they'll always be on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't think. Well, we don't pay for YouTube, so
I think they just
I
stay
assume
on
they're
there
going to be there forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode and are getting benefits from our content.
If your life is improving in part due to the information in this podcast, we would greatly appreciate you sharing the episode with your family and friends on social media and leaving us a review so we can continue to reach more people and improve the health and happiness of the community at large.
Thanks again, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Health and Happiness Podcast.